y'all.
Hey guys, happy Friday. How was your guys' week?
It was a good week. I'd say I got a lot accomplished. I had a lot of things on the to-do list that I needed to get checked off and ticked off, and I did get them all completed with the exception of one. Gonna take care of that Sunday, which is my lashes. She's gonna come out on Sunday and do my lashes. I was like, girl,
Uh,
I can't have all my lashes falling out when I'm in Jacksonville. Like, I gotta look cute when I go in the.
exactly.
Lashes falling out when I'm in Jacksonville. Like, oh, my bad. Pardon the iPad. So anyway, that's it. Everything else I got taken care of. All my follow-up appointments and stuff with the kids. They just got a busy night tonight. They had a movie night at the school tonight, and I was like, I can't go because we've got the podcast. Why did you guys pick 7:30 to start the movie? You couldn't wait until later or start it earlier. But anyway, whole nother story. How about y'all?
My week was good. It was great. Can't complain. Dominique, what about you?
I had a good week. I had a good week. I caught up on a lot of stuff I needed to catch up on. So that's an A plus.
That's good. That's good.
Always, always.
Well, tonight, guys, we're going to talk about guns, gun violence, and school shootings. If you guys haven't heard, yesterday, I think it was in Memphis, there was elementary shooting. Um, so we just wanted to spread awareness, um, talk about how you guys feel about guns in school, our children, um, the rights for guns. Is it okay for you guys to carry? We're going to talk about all about that tonight. So just let me know what you guys think about the first off, the shooting that happened yesterday in Memphis. Give me your input on it. Like, how do you guys feel? Like, what if that was your children's school? Do you think that, the emergency people handled it the right way? Just give me your input of how you guys felt.
Uh, I'll jump on in this one. I mean, obviously, it's always frightening when you hear about a shooting at a school. It was frightening to hear about Newtown. It was frightening to hear about the shootings that took place many, many years ago. I mean, not many, many, but a significant amount of time ago, out in Colorado as well, where the kids had a whole manifesto that they had written out and had this plan and had been accumulating weapons. And what was scary part is that the parents knew that there was something wrong with the child. The parents knew that he had violent tendencies. They were both psychiatrists. So if your mommy and your daddy got their medical degree in psychiatry and even they believe that you are a violent sociopath, psychopath, I mean, I believe that they should have taken steps. They should have taken measures. There's different hospitals. There's different types of alternative schools. Maybe he should have been in a facility that was more like that, and had more of a lockdown protocol, specifically for people and individuals that have that mindset. Much like a lot of war veterans, will have some issues with PTSD because of what they experienced and the trauma and all of that. And they may startle for something that may seem minor to you and I, but that might be a whole trigger effect, to them. So that's why there should always be benefits available and beds available and treatment available to anybody that is going through a mental health crisis. But then also, I ask myself this: is this really and was this a mental health crisis? Or is this just the state of the world that we live in, where there's so much shooting and carrying on happening that it's normal for kids to see other kids bring guns to school, or at least know of somebody that got shot, or have seen a person being transported to an ambulance because of an injury in a shootout? I mean, a lot of it, I think, could be certainly circumstance.
But what I was gonna say, Brenna, is how do you think a 13-year-old got a gun? Or Dominique can answer that question too. Where do you think a 13-year-old could have got a gun from? Like, and where do you think their mindset was? A 13-year-old mindset was to bring a gun to school to shoot his peers.
My opinion, of course, I do want to say that every parent worst nightmare is school shootings. I mean, I just definitely want to start there. Like, these are horrible, senseless tragedies. Sorry. And one thing I do is pray every night and every morning, of course, for God to shield our kids, because this just getting out of control. Um, but that I mean, how do a 13-year-old get a hold of a gun? I have to say irresponsibility. And I hate to say it, but it would come from the parents. I mean, that's just how I see it. That's how I feel about it.
Gun box, lock safe. I mean that's like one of the things that they teach you is that if you're going to be in a household with children, you need to have a gun box.
But you know, Brenna, sometimes they teach us that, and some people they don't want to listen. They do what they want to do until a tragedy happened and their child finds the gun and shoots themselves. So, a lot of
Not
adults,
only that, but look how many people. I mean, it's too many people getting shot with high
yeah,
power weapons. I mean,
exactly,
those are weapons. The public. I mean, how did they get them? You know.
exactly. That's a good question. How do they get them? You know, are they doing like proper background checks?
Are
I
they
think,
dumping these guns in our neighborhoods? I
yep,
mean, you
mm-hmm,
don't know. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, if there's no chaos, there's nothing to talk about. So
exactly,
I feel like um, every high power person up there, there is their responsibility too. And when I mean high power, I mean Congress. I mean all these legislations that need to be going on to keep this guns under control,
exactly.
especially when it gets to the people that either is. I notice now they always say, "Oh, it's a mental health problem." You know,
It's not always a mental health
No,
problem.
right,
It's an access.
right.
It's an access problem.
exactly. Exactly. I think a lot of people they throw that out there. Oh, they have a mental health issue, so they don't need to go to court, or they can get away with this and get away with that because they have a mental health issue. But I think people just saying it to say it, but they really don't have a mental health issue at all.
And I hate to say it, but I'm just gonna say it here because I noticed that when it's the white population, when it's their shooting or someone who has shot, for example, the church or that other massive shooting, that's the first thing that comes out is, oh, they had a mental issue.
You talking about Dylan? You talking about the dude that shot up the church
Yes,
and they went and
yes,
bought him McDonald's?
yes,
That
and
one?
yes, and the movie theater.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hey Nat.
Hey, good evening.
Hey, Nat.
Hey, Natalie.
Oh, she's gone.
She'll probably be back. So, but yeah, even like the shooting at Lennox, I think it was like 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was having a conversation with one of my friends. I was like, you know, it's sad because we're seeing a lot of black on black crime as well, you know, and it's like, what can we do, you know, in our community to spread awareness to like say, hey, you know, we have to do better. We can't just keep, you know, killing each other, killing our sons and killing our daughters. You know, what can we do to bring awareness to the African American community to say we need to just stop shooting each other and just build each other up, you know? I think that's sad. You know, Lennox are trying to make it their own little what city now. I think They were
Yeah,
talking
I
about
think
it.
I think they're trying to do like what Brookhaven did and
Yes.
something similar where they're unincorporated
Mm-hmm.
DeKalb County or whatever county
Mm-hmm.
that happens to be in, so that they operate under their own sets of rules and regulations and all that good stuff. But it's interesting, if you get in trouble in Brookhaven, though, you still go into DeKalb County Jail.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
That is true.
they're not sending you to Chamblee or Brookhaven.
No.
They send you to DeKalb County on Memorial Drive.
Exactly. The big house.
The big house.
All the way
The
down there.
big house. So I had an interesting conversation with my kids this week, and it just was kind of random. We were watching a show. I think it was Everybody Hates Chris. I don't remember the exact details of the specific episode, but something came up, and and was said, and it was like the kids were playing tag, I think it was, and they were somewhere, and someone was like, "Stop! Freeze! I'll shoot you!" Like they were playing cops and robbers or something like that. And it had startled someone because they had been in a situation where there was an actual stop, freeze, don't move. Like they were in the crossfire of an actual police pursuit and a shootout going on and going down. And the kids asked us, did we think that guns were safe, and did guns hurt people? And I had to sit on it. I had to sit on it for a minute to give them the answer that I felt was most appropriate for the age that they're at right now. I mean, at 9 and 12, I think we're going to have a little bit different conversation when they're 18, 19, and 20 and 21. And when they start driving and they're around in the city and they're going out to clubs and bars and going on trips and vacations and things like that. But the irony of the whole thing was that the kids that were playing the cops were doing the constant bang bang, doing the constant bang 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 bang. They were always shooting. It was always like one brief freeze, stop, hold your hands up, whatever. But the rest was all shooting and firing, and they were shooting Nerf guns and soda cans and all these other kinds of things. And there had been a significant amount of time where I was like, please do not buy my kids guns for Christmas, because I just don't want them to be in the habit of putting guns in somebody's face and really not understanding the ramifications. And my kids have different personalities. So, one, he'd be much more careful with what he was doing, but the other one, he don't have a care in the world, and he don't think that the world is like that anyone would actually ever hurt anyone. And so it was like, it took a minute, and we had to stop and we had to talk. And so we got into George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the cop that walked into the wrong apartment, thought she was in her own apartment, and and was startled and wound up shooting the guy. So it's like there's gun violence that's taking place in the streets. There's gun violence in the good neighborhoods. There's gun violence in the grocery store. There's gun violence at the post office. I'm from Virginia Beach. A couple years ago, there was a big shootout at the municipal center, where you go to pay your taxes and your water bill and all that other kind of stuff. Been to that building many a times. And multiple people were killed because a former employee decided to go in and shoot that day. The term going postal came from a lot of postal workers taking guns and bringing them into their facilities and shooting, coworkers and whatnot, and different things going on. So, I mean, gun violence is everywhere, and it is literally now saturated itself into the walls of our schools. It's not just a stain, it's like a permanent mark. I mean, we can scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub, but that stain ain't coming out. And and what do we do? What
I have to actually agree with something Trump said a while back, and that was put guns into the hands of good people, of more good people, especially when it comes to the schools. You know, it's sad that you have to say, oh, we're going to arm our teachers and, staff members. And I don't think um, if you don't want to, carry a gun, that's fine. Should be your choice. But I mean, just imagine if they were armed. How many students could they have saved and properly trained, of course, in those situations? Not just give, of course, I'm not just saying like give them a gun, but, do the whole background, properly train them and get the training that they need for them to be able to, self defense. That's what guns are for, self defense. So, m- m- the mass shootings in schools, 9 times out of 10, they're planned. These kids are sitting there planning this massive attack on how they're going to attack these kids. And believe it or not, because it took me a while to actually see it this way, but most of them are suicidal because they end up killing themselves.
They either wind up killing themselves or they set themselves up in position to be death by cop by attempting to reach for a weapon and then winding up losing their
Because
life.
if we have one cop, let's say Brenda, okay, you have one cop at the school that has the gun. Don't you think the first thing they're gonna say is we got to get rid of this cop first? That's gonna be their first, intent is to go against the cop so they can have access to everybody else.
Yep. Like, oh, we gotta get so and so out the way. Let's get them out the way so that we can go ahead and we can proceed. But yeah, with a lot of these stories, and you watch the interviews and the follow-up interviews, as you said, a lot of this is planned. So it's not something they didn't just wake up that day and decide that it was going to happen. They'd known for many, many months. And knew the routines and knew how to get in and out and do different things and what teachers were going to be working and who checked bags and who didn't. And, that's very manipulative. It's very manipulative. And it's
a lot of times they study. They take months to study and observe a lot of things. And I don't understand how some parents can just don't understand what their child is doing behind closed doors. But if your child can plan to shoot up a school and you have no clue, something's wrong with the picture. That means you're not involved in your child's life the way you should be. More involved in your child's life, like you should.
Right. It always goes back to, in like, are these parents being responsible? What is the root problem at home? If you have a child with mental illness, and if you go to the doctor and they talked about being suicidal or harming themselves, I mean, not well, most likely they are capable of hurting others.
But we talked about that last week, how some kids, they express themselves and people just don't believe them until it happens, until they shoot up a school. And then people are like, oh, well, we didn't realize he had depression or mental illness. But when the child was trying to reach out, nobody could care less.
Or they just didn't care at all.
Yeah.
Like you have some people out there who soulless.
Yeah.
Like they have no soul, and they don't, if they do something tragic like shooting up a school, some of them don't even have feelings towards
They
it.
don't care. They don't care. My issue is, if you have issues with people, kill yourself. Don't take everybody else with you.
Girl.
You know what I mean? You don't have to go to a school. Just do it yourself. Even though I don't want you to kill yourself. I don't want you to kill yourself, but I'm just saying, why would you kill 20 innocent little kids? You see what I mean?
I don't want you to die, but
I don't want you to die.
Road,
but if you want to do it, just let it be yourself. Don't just take other people out with you. Let them be great in life. You see? That's how I feel.
What do you think, Nat? I mean,
Hey, Natalie.
how do you feel about the situations that are going on with these mass shootings? I was saying earlier, I said, there's gun violence everywhere. There's gun violence in the grocery store. There's gun violence in the Costco. There's gun violence in the Walmart. I mean, there's gun violence at Lenox and, the quote unquote nicer parts of Atlanta. I mean, so no matter where you go, you're going to find yourself potentially exposed to some sort of gun violence, whether you're directly impacted by it or your car happens to get struck or you happen to get struck by a stray bullet. It's just, we just going to stay inside the whole time? How do we manage it? Like, how do we manage it without walking around and adding to our already, increasing anxiety now that we're in the middle of a pandemic still?
Are we talking like in terms of schools? Because I feel like, this dog, I'm sorry. I feel like when it comes to the kids, they definitely, when I was in elementary school, we used to have regular meetings with our counselors. Like our counselors were super involved in everything. Like I remember I was selling gel pens and my counselor was like, we appreciate your entrepreneurship, but you can't do that here. So they were real involved. Like they knew everything. So I feel like if the school staff would just be a little more, a little more involved, a little more caring, because parents, kids aren't always going to want to go and speak with their parents about every little thing. So if there's people at the school, someone that the kids trust enough to, open up a little more, then I feel like a lot of things will go, won't go undetected. So maybe, hopefully, things such as mass shootings will be, of course, you can't never expect it, but at least you'll see some red flags and some signs from some of the kids who might need a little more attention. That's what I think. I just feel like, obviously, the parents, they're the first ones that are there with the kids all the time, but at the same time, kids hide things from their parents that, there should be somebody else in the community that's a little more involved in it to see what's really going on.
Okay. Good point, Natalie. All right, guys. You want to say something, Brenna? Okay. All right, guys. We have a special guest with us tonight. His name is Jay Wilson. Mr. Wilson, he is a survivor from gun violence. He also wrote a book about, he also wrote a book about 5 shots to forgiveness. He's also a formal co-worker of one of our Real Chill Conversation women, Miss Brenna. Everybody say hi.
Hey, Jay, welcome.
Today is actually the anniversary of him being shot 5 years ago. So please help me welcome Mr. Jay Wilson, and he's going to share his story with us tonight.
Greetings, ladies. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, it's an honor and a pleasure to wake up this morning and be alive. First and foremost, and I'm very thankful to Almighty God for allowing me strength in my body to be able to do this. And you are correct on several fronts. It's actually 6 years today. 2015, October 1st is when I was shot 5 times at close range with a .380 pistol. I was shot once in my leg, shot once in the back of my head, once in my throat, once in my belly button, bounced around my stomach, and then once in my ribs. And each shot on its own could have killed me. Each one, an inch to the left, 2 inches down and to the right. Those are like I was inches away from dying on each single shot. But here I am, not only alive, but I'm talking to you. And so, yes, I'm a gun violence survivor. First of all, shout out to all of you ladies for this platform and this forum that you have. And yes, I'm I really don't even like to say former coworker, Brenna, but Brenna is like my sister. I'm a Jersey guy. She's a Jersey girl. Like, our kids have almost grown up together, had sleepovers over the house and things of that nature. So we watched our children grow up. Her son is just a year behind mine and everything. So Brenna's family. And if you guys are doing a show with her, then you are my extended family. So it's a pleasure to be here. But yes, this is the anniversary of what I call my rebirth day. I feel God gave me another chance at life after such a horrific incident. And so I'm very passionate about a few things, ladies, as I'm joining the conversation late, and I know I'm coming in on school shootings and mass shootings, which I'm very, very passionate about. But my passion is, and my platform, what I talk about with the 524 movement, as I call it. So my book is called 5 Shots to Forgiveness, My Triumph Over Tragedy. And my website is 524book.com. And the official book release is literally coming in a matter of weeks. So stay tuned for that. Digital and physical release is coming. Just got out of a meeting today about a screenplay that will be written about my incident. And the reason being is because it's really it's a crazy story, and I don't have enough time on your platform to tell the entire thing because I would take up too much time. But essentially, surviving 5 gunshots and the way it happened, and you can go to my website. Anybody that's want to find out really the whole entire thing, you can go to my website, and I tell more of the story there. But the one thing I want people to take away from my story is that not only did I survive it, I survived it in a way where I know there really is a God somewhere. And not only that, I got my voice back. I walk. I'm in my car right now, so I drive now. I have suffered from migraines. You know, a bullet is lodged in my head as we speak right now. I have a metal rod in my left leg right now. My left leg was broken on impact with the shot. And, you know, I have an 18-inch scar in the middle of my body. Brenda's familiar. She's seen that ugly thing. And so I call me and Brenda, we're like scar twins, you know, of all the stuff that she's been through, all the stuff we've been through. We're survivor twins. And so, but my biggest thing is forgiveness, everyone. You know, as the book is called 5 Shots to Forgiveness, My Triumph Over Tragedy. Well, the way I was able to triumph is the forgiveness came first. And this is probably the most difficult concept for humans to grab, forgiveness. And
Jay,
part of it,
Jay, real quick, I definitely want you to get into that, but I just want you to share the moment when you realized that you'd been injured, and then go ahead from there, because I think that's very important. That's very important, and I know it's going to be in the book, but I think it's very important that that everyone else gets to hear that. Is not everybody knows. I know, but I think people need to hear that as well.
So like the actual incident you're saying to go describe that moment. Okay. I just, you know, it's so detailed. I just didn't want to take up too much time on your platform, but I have no problem sharing. So really what happened, ladies, is I was shot in Forsyth, Georgia, in a parking lot of apartment complex of a former mentee of mine. I used to be an executive with Target Corporation. And I was visiting a former mentee of mine who was still with Target at the time. I had been left the company in 2008. This is now 2015. She was still there, and she was up for a promotion. And being my former mentee, I felt compelled to help her. She's like my sister, dear friend of mine. And I had started my own business, Full Spectrum ENT, which I have right now. But it was just getting it off the ground in 2015. So I made a decision to go visit her at 8:30 in the morning. All right. And that day, my father had a biopsy to find out if he had cancer. As later that day, he did find out he had cancer, but he beat it, and he's still with us today. So glory
Mr.
to God.
Wilson.
Yeah. So he's literally sitting up in the stands at the football game where my nephew's playing right now. So, but yeah, so happy about that. But I went to go visit her and help her through this, and I had to rush through it. Like I had a lot to do that day. I had a client that day. I had to get back and help my dad and everything. So it was literally I was supposed to be there for about 45 minutes tops. and I never made it out my car. I was driving a black SUV, a Toyota Highlander, and when I pulled up to this apartment complex, I wasn't exactly sure where I was going. So when I pulled up into it, you could either turn left or right. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to turn left, park, and call my friend and find out if I'm in the right spot. Before I could get off the phone calling her, this white pickup truck comes in, blocks me in the back of my car like a T, and jumps out of the car and is enraged. I mean, veins popping out his head and his neck. And he's standing with his hand lowered. But I know, unfortunately, I've been carjacked before here in Atlanta. So I know the drill. So I'm thinking, oh, man, somebody got the drop on me. So come to find out, the story is the guy who ran up on me thought I was the guy who was cheating on his baby mom. All right. So she had 2 kids. They had 2 kids together. They were high school sweethearts, been together for 13 years. He's now 29. She's now 26. They have 2 small little children, 3.5, and newborn. And 2 days before I got there, the same exact car, make, model, everything, is parked in the same exact space. And so when he comes home from odd jobbing it out there, because he had gotten into trouble a few years earlier, and he's had trouble keeping jobs because of that on his record. So he's tracking me across the street because he's waiting on her. And I'm going to tell you why. 2 days earlier, he comes home and he finds them in the bed together with the kids in the back room. So this is the 3rd time this woman has cheated on him. And he is now snapped. He's had enough. He forgave her the first 2 times because he doesn't want to separate from his children. He loves his children, just want to take care of his children. And she plays a lot of games. If the money's slow, then you can't see your kids, and because this is a Section 8 apartment, so he's not supposed to live there. But you know how it goes. You go over there and you be with your kids and be with your woman, right? And so she plays a lot of games and uses money as a pawn. And so he's frustrated. He's depressed. He's been going through it. He had trauma his whole life. Never got, black men, we don't get any help for our traumas, especially our childhood traumas. And so he runs up on this black car. He's like, what in the world is this? It's the maintenance man of the building. And he's in there doing his woman, right? So this is how not a thug he was. He runs out of the apartment crying and calls his mother at 29 years old and said, Mom, I think I lost my family. She did it again on me and this, that, and the other. So he goes to a motel and he's thinking about it. And he's thinking about the fact I'm about to lose my family and I can't have that happen because when I was 6, my parents had infidelity with each other and they broke up and our family broke up and never got back together. And so now his childhood trauma got triggered when he's seeing this. And he's like, that's not going to happen to my kids. So when he's across the street waiting on the baby mom because he's going to kill her, instead of her, he sees the SUV, which I was driving, and it wasn't the other guy. And so he looks at it and he says, I know that dude did not come back here after I just caught him. So he's enraged from the beginning, but he didn't know it was me in my car and not the other guy in his car. So he runs up on my window, knocks on it just like that. And I'm like, what in the world? So when the car blocks me and I'm looking at my rear view just like this, and I'm saying, what in the world is going on? And he's at my front window and I don't see a gun at this point, but he's just like, hey man, what the hell are you doing here? And I said, oh, hey man, because I could see the veins in his forehead popping and everything. And I was like, man, I'm just here to see a family friend. I did not say her name. I'm going to tell you why I wish I did. After I see he's on the phone in the other hand, but the other hand is lower, but I know he got a gun. He's yelling into the phone and he's like, I'm sick of this and blah, 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 and just losing it, right? All of a sudden, I think the guy is crazy. I just think he's like out of his mind. So I literally take my seatbelt off, like right here, take my seatbelt off, and I'm trying to get up on the center console and sneak out the other door. He turns around, lifts up the gun and fires one shot right into my window. That shot goes and hits me directly in the hip joint, breaks my entire femur, and my leg is dangling just like this, just dangling. And so I'm trying to hold it together and I'm in a state of panic and shock. I cannot believe I just got shot. I don't know the guy. He doesn't know me. I think he thinks he knows me, but I don't know. So you have to understand at this moment, I don't know why I've been shot. I just know a guy ran up on my car, didn't ask me for my wallet, didn't ask me for my car, didn't ask me for nothing, just asked me, what am I doing here? It's later that I found out he thought I was the guy. So I'm now sitting with a bullet in my leg, trying to hold it together. My window's blown out, and all of a sudden I hear click, click. And I turn because I don't pay no mention after, I don't pay no mind after that first shot because I'm thinking he shoot me, he runs off. It's 8:30 in the morning. Like, why would he still be here? Everybody gonna see him, right? I don't know that he's so gone that he's shooting me in broad daylight and trying to kill me. And so at that moment, I look and I'm like, oh, shoot. Isn't it? So now I drag myself over the center console, get to the passenger door, and I get out the way. I get out that door and I fall right to the ground. I can't get away. So he walks around the front of the vehicle, and this is the moment. And ladies, this is hard to describe because I don't know if anybody's been in a near death experience before. But they're kind of different. Like if you think you're gonna die in a roller coaster accident, if you think you're gonna die in a car accident, something like that, you can kind of see your life flash before you. But this was slow, like it was slow motion. I saw him creep toward me underneath the wheels of the car. I could see his feet come toward me. So it's like I'm watching my death come toward me, and it's just an awful feeling. And I remember saying to God, I said, "This is not how it ends. You showed me greatness in my future. This is not how it ends." And I just remember denying that I would die that day. You know, I just didn't accept it. And as he comes around the front of the vehicle, he puts a gun to the side of my head. And this is where things got really crazy. And this is like, if you don't believe in God before this, I don't know how you don't after. What I'm about to tell you is 100% the unadulterated truth. I have no reason to lie, and I would not do that. But y'all, when I tell you I heard an audible voice, when he put the gun right here, to this side of my head, right here, and I heard an audible voice say, "Turn your head." I thought it was somebody outside. Nobody was outside yet. Now people were peering through the window like, was that a gunshot? But nobody was outside. I heard, "Turn your head." So I just did. And at the moment I turned my head is when he pulled the trigger and he shot me directly in the back of my head. That bullet is still in my head right now. Now I don't know why that bullet didn't kill me, but it knocked me out. So I was out cold. He proceeds to shoot me 3 more times in my throat. I don't know if y'all could see that. I don't know if the camera's blocking it, but I got a scar right there in my throat. I'm not gonna lift up my shirt. My wife told me to stop doing that, so I'm not gonna do it. I got a big old scar on my stomach, and I had a rib shot. I wasn't awake for any of those 3. So there's actually mercy in that. God actually granted me mercy because I was out. I didn't feel the other 3 shots. So I only felt 2. That was enough, but I only felt 2. And so without long drawing out the story and bringing, you know, your points that you were making to a complete whole, which I didn't want to do, but Brenna's right. It's very important that people understand that supernatural things happen in the natural all the time. And I don't know where anybody's faith walk is, and I'm not here to try to convert you into anything. So I'm just here to share my testimony. And I'm telling you right now, it was the voice of God told me to turn my head at the exact moment I did, and I didn't question it. That's the only way I'm alive now. Because if he shoots me in the temple, I'm not talking to you right now, right? And so this is really crazy, because what I'm about to tell you, if that wasn't crazy enough, I'm about to show you how when God is on your side, even at the time, I was really not like connected. I wasn't going to church, and I wasn't praying and this and the other. And I kind of grew up in church and everything. You know, my father taught Bible study. My mother was a Sunday school teacher and all that. But I wasn't in church. And I was having a crisis of faith during that point in my life. And this is just how merciful God can be. If you just show any sort of belief in him, right? Not only did I hear that voice, right? But I'm going to tell you something. I got shot in Monroe County, Georgia, right? The ambulance time in 2015, average was 11 minutes. 11 minutes response time. They got to me in 5 minutes that day. 5 minutes. You know why? It was a little blue-haired old white lady that fainted that morning. And somebody dispatched paramedics out to an apartment complex that was right down the street. So they got to me in 5 minutes that day instead of 11. That's extremely important, because when you've been shot 5 times, every second counts. and I didn't lose any time, and they got me to the hospital where they were able to really start working on me and saving my life, because that shot that went into my stomach pierced my colon, bounced around, pierced my gallbladder, exploded my gallbladder. So I got bile going everywhere, and I'm about to go in a septic shock. Okay, every second is important, and I got to the hospital in time. So the way God works is, a old little lady faints right down the street, and that cuts the paramedic time in half so I can get to the hospital. And guys, I need you to understand, this was a brutal, brutal, brutal shooting. My teeth were on the ground. Like, I had blood going everywhere. Like, I got shot right here in the throat. It bounced around my throat and blew out the side of my face. I'm not trying to make anybody squeamish or anything, but I literally had teeth on the ground. You know, like, I should be dead. I should be so dead. It is really not even comprehensible. So I just want everybody to know that even though my story has some triumph in terms of the fact that I survived, and not only did I survive, I was able to kind of come back. You know, I can't say normal, because I'll never be the same again. It's impossible. I have a metal rod in my leg and I had a bullet in my head. So I'll never be 100% the same. But if I didn't tell you any of this happened, you would not know. And my voice, and Brennan can tell you, my voice actually has more resonance in it now. And I literally have made a voiceover career after getting shot dead in the throat than I really had before I got shot. So that's how God worked, you know. So I just want everybody to know that, yes, my story is triumphant. I was able to overcome it. When I first got hurt, I thought I was going to die. I tried to make peace with it, but I really couldn't. But I thought I was going to die that day, right then and there, and God spared me. But today is tough in some ways, because my wife, every October 1st, flashes back to me in the hospital, and my head was 3 times the size it is now. And my mother seeing it on the news before she got the official word from anybody. That was tough. And so they're right now up in the stands at this football game where my nephew's playing, and they just want to get their mind off it. They don't like me telling the story. That's why I'm in the car telling it by myself, so I can be in a quiet place. But the collateral damage, and to maybe fit into the conversation you guys are having, you ladies are having, what people need to understand with gun violence is there's so much collateral damage. There's so much collateral damage. Yes, I survived. And you know what? I can deal with this metal rod in my leg. I'll be okay. Hell, I ran a 5K a year to the day afterwards. So I'm gonna be all right. I'm just, this is what we call Jersey tough. I'm just gonna brag. I'm gonna brag on where we from. We kind of built like that, right? But it's not like that for everybody. It's not like that for everybody. And you know, I was in a hospital with breadwinners that were shot. No, breadwinners for the whole family, just shot, and they'll never be the same. A guy in the same hospital I was in got shot one time. He died 3 days later. Man, when I tell you, that haunts me to this day. I'm alive after 5 shots. He's dead after 1. And so, you know, to wrap up this portion of it, so I can kind of give your flow back to you. So forgive me, and thank you for allowing me to even express. But the guy who shot me, oh, this is so crazy. Every time I say it, I got to really shake my head. So the guy who shot me ended up killing himself because he led police on a chase. There was an old lady out there. When I pulled up, there was an old lady out there in front of the next building over. She saw him block me in, and I guess she thought it was going to be a fight, so she went on inside. Nobody thought it was going to be gunshots, right? So as he's shooting me for the 5th time, she literally, God is my witness, it's in the police report, lifts up her window like an old black grandma would do, yells at the dude, "Stop shooting that boy, you're going to kill him." Just like that. Literally just like that. Do you know that's what snapped him out of his fog? Because I'm going to tell you something. When he came over me to put that gun, I looked him dead in his eyes. And I tried to plead with him. I said, "Brother, I don't know what's going on with you, but you don't have to do this, man. You don't have to do that." I was begging for my life. When I tell you there was nothing in his eyes, nothing. I never saw before or since. I've never seen somebody with no life in their eyes. I saw it that day. And I said, "Man, this dude is possessed or something." Like, I literally said it. and he ended up doing what he did it. But you know, when that old lady screamed that, it snapped him out of his fob. And he leaned over and looked at me, and this is all in the police report. It's like a crime novel. This thing is crazy. It's 45 pages long. And he leans over, looked at me, and goes, "I got the wrong guy." And he jumps in the truck and runs off. Okay. And so now he's going everywhere trying to avoid the police now. But this story is so deep, y'all. Like, I was meant to be there that day. I was meant to be there that day because what I found out was the guy, his name is Milton, who shot me. He's no longer with us because he led police on a chase and they flipped his car over and he shot himself in the head with the same gun, same bullets, and he died on impact. He shot me in the head. I'm talking to you as if nothing is wrong. You don't believe in God, I don't know what to tell you. So come to find out, Milton is Priscilla's nephew. My friend who I came to see that day, this is her nephew that shot me. She didn't know he lived there, and he didn't know she lived there. She had just moved into that apartment complex. Can y'all believe this? She
Oh,
just moved in it. It's
And
crazy.
and Jay, I mean, did he ever have, I mean, did anyone in the family, did anyone ever speak about, hey, he had PTSD or he was a vet and he was dealing with mental health issues? Was there any of that came into play, or was it all just he'd had enough because his wife was out here, hoeing around?
Yeah, I mean, and that was just really the breaking point. But you have to understand, you're dealing with a country family in a country little town, black, and guys. I mean, let's be honest, guys. We don't in our community, we don't have a history of getting help, and I mean, we just don't have a history of getting help. We shame it. People, and now you in the Bible Belt, and you be like, "Oh, just take your burdens to the Lord, baby, and you'll be all right." And just like, there's no psychiatrist, there's no psychologist, there's no therapy, and
there's
so.
no.
Yeah, please chime in.
Oh no, go ahead. I
Yeah,
was just agreeing with you.
Yeah,
yeah,
same here. That's true. You're right about that.
yeah. There's no therapy. There's nothing, and so we just suffer. We suffer in silence. And then and I can speak as a black man, ladies, there's a lot of pressure on us. I don't think what makes us men in y'all's eyes, and I'm not blaming you. I'm not being contentious here when I say this, but I think it's still hard for women to see a man as a man if he's not earning, if he's not breadwinning, and he doesn't even have to be the breadwinner, but he's not holding his weight because all y'all ladies making money today. Y'all are making serious cash today, and so now even more so. My grandmother hardly could work. She was like a librarian at her highest level. Her husband, my grandfather, was a nuclear physicist for NASA. So, like, there was no equal breadwinning back then and all that kind of stuff. But nowadays, women are doing everything. The CEOs, y'all, everything. So, if we're not pulling our weight, it's really looking like we're not real men. And quite honestly, men back in the day only really had to do that. They weren't judged by whether they were bouncing babies off their knee and whether they were changing diapers. My father can count the number of diapers he changed on one hand. He was terrible at it. But he went and worked 50 hours a week, so he was a real man. But my wife expects more out of me. She expects me to be at every ballet recital, every football game, every church program, and I better change diapers too, and I better be a girl dad, and I be all of that, right? And so we have a lot of pressure, but yet that financial pressure has not changed, ladies. We're still expected to go out here and go get it. And now more than ever, we need support. And not just from y'all, like we need therapy. We need our camaraderie with our brothers. We need safe spaces. But even me saying the word safe space, there's some dudes right now be like, safe space? You sound, see what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot on us, ladies. And so Milton, here he is, 29 years old, 3-year-old and a newborn, out here trying to get a job, trying to do right, and she's using the children as pawns and keeping them separated when she feel like it, and all this kind of stuff, and then cheat on them 3 times, and then he snaps. And what avenue does he have to do it? So to answer really your question, Brent, like they knew stuff was going on. These folks didn't know what to do. They country folk, man. Like, and God bless them, like the salt of the earth country folk, but they're just like, they didn't know where to go, what to do.
Because they don't believe in that, counseling. It's, you talk to your pastor, you go to church, you pray about it.
And his grandfather was a country preacher, if you can believe it, right? So like, and once he's estranged from the family, as his doing, they didn't really shun him like that. But once he was estranged, I guess they felt like, oh, well, in his time and all that kind of stuff or whatever. But they knew stuff was going on. To the extent of what it really was, I don't think they did know. And so when you're dealing with, and God bless them, because I'm not trying to talk bad, but they're not highly educated, haven't traveled the world. Their experience, like, most have been in Monroe County, Forsyth, Georgia, like most of their life, if not their whole life. Just haven't had a lot of worldly experiences. So they know what they know, right? And so a guy like him just falls through the cracks, 29 years old, dead. But he had wrote a note that he was going to commit a murder-suicide. He was going to kill the children, didn't kill the mother, and then kill himself. Because he actually thought that was mercy. Because he knew he was going to kill the mother, because that was enough. They're like, you got to go, right? But he didn't want his children to witness that. And I'm telling you, he truly believed this was mercy. He did not want his children to witness him killing her. So he was like, I got to do them first. And then I'll do her. And then what's left for me at that point? So I might as well turn to myself. And it happens all the time with PTSD victims. It happens all the time with depression. You see this in former athletes. They have done this and things of that nature, all the blows to the head and everything. So no help for this young man. It's very sad, because when I found out what his pressures and what he felt like he was a failure at, man, I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. When I was 27, I felt like a failure too. I mean, Brenna can tell you, I'm at the radio station, we're making no money. I got a whole family that I'm trying to support, and yet I'm trying to use my God-given talents. And when you help build a radio station like me and Brenna did, ain't no money, man. I was paying to get up there, and I had a wife patient enough to let me do that.
Walking.
Walking.
Marta.
State. I'll never forget that. We came up with the whole skit, remember?
Right, and skit.
Yep. Right down there on Piedmont, right? So it's ladies, it's really, really, it's a delicate situation. It's very tough. It's very tenuous, if you will. And we really have to start valuing peace of mind, peace amongst each other. The violence against, I know people don't want to say black on black violence exists, but honestly, I'm be honest, I'm on the other side of that fence, because I can't stand all violence. Like Parkland messed me up. The nightclub in Orlando messed me up. I'm still messed up by Columbine, right? So I'm not about to say, like, I don't care, white folk can kill each other all they want. No, I'm not saying that. But when I see people who look like me, brothers who look like me kill each other, it makes me sick to my stomach. So I'm really not with the liberal response that there's no such thing as black on black violence because white on whites do it. Okay, you want to label it different, fine, but if we're supposed to be 15% of the population, we don't have a room to kill each other at the same rate that other races are doing, that the whites are doing. We don't have a room to do that, because there's 70% more of them in the world. So we have to just think outside the box. We have to start thinking differently. We have to value life more. And this 29-year-old guy who was full of promise and was leading a decent life before all of this is now gone. And guess when his birthday is? October 3rd. He shot himself right before his 30th birthday, y'all. That's so sad, man. If I had known what he was going through, I could have talked to him. I can be like, yo, bro, I know what you're going through right now. Don't give up, bro. It's going to get better. You just hang in there. We just don't have enough resources. We don't have enough resources amongst each other as men, safe spaces where somebody's not going to question our manhood and question how soft we are, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And so what I would implore to you ladies, I only know of Brenna's home life situation. I don't know of any of yours, but what I would implore to every one of you is please check on your brothers, your husbands, your boyfriends, your dads, your uncles, your cousins, because they're not going to tell you on their own. And I implore you that if they are brave enough to say something or give you a sign or a signal, please, please, please just not only listen, but assure them that they are not alone, and reassure them. Look, men are fragile, man. We like to come up with societies all about women are emotional and fragile, and men are fragile. Like, let's keep it real. Like, we are strong until we're not. And same with women, y'all are strong until you're not. And it manifests in different ways. But I need each and every woman listening to this, lady listening to this, even young girl, teenager listening to this, please support the man in your life, the men in your life, because ladies, I think we can all agree. I think this works better when we have strong, adjusted, well-adjusted men in our homes and in our communities, so we can protect y'all and protect our children the way we're supposed to. It's hard to do this, and you guys have been having to work at a character for far too long, taking care of kids by yourself, holding down communities by yourself. This is out of whack. But men are out here risking their lives for a dollar because they don't understand their God-given potential, and they're worried about making money to not just impress young ladies or whatever, but they think like my worth is in my pocket, my worth is in my bank account. So if I don't have no money, I'm nothing, and we really got to change that narrative. I've been out of work before, but I was a great dad while I was out of work. You know, I was taking them kids. I won an award from the PTSO when I was out of work. So that should count for something, and I think we need to reinforce that. So, so that's my rant. Sorry for that. I just had to get that out because this is so important with the collateral damage that getting shot leaves. I can't hear you, Brent.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate you sharing that. And I just wanted to ask you my last question, and then anyone else, if they have anything that they want to add or ask, please feel free. But given what you've gone through, you had the carjacking experience, you've been shot, you live in a state where you can't turn on the news or flip on social media and see something about a shooting. How does that impact you? How do you deal with that? And how do you handle when you hear that there's a shooting at a school?
Oh, great. Okay, so it's a little bit of a multi-part question here. So I'm gonna tag each one. I'm gonna try to do it timely here. So one, yeah, living in Georgia, like, because where we're from, Brent, you just can't be carrying guns like that. They don't allow guns up north like this. Down here, I was really taken aback. I was startled at the amount of just open carry guns that's around this sucker. And so, I've been down here for 15 years now, so you start adjusting. But when I see the stuff on the news, when I see I get sick to my stomach when I see somebody like 10 years, 13, 14, 15 years younger than me, brand new dad, gunned down, wherever. That makes me sick to my stomach. When I see a school shooting, yeah, man, listen, like, I don't think it gets any lower for me than hurting children. Even especially if it's even children hurting children or teenagers hurting teenagers. I guys, y'all remember being in school? Do y'all ever think somebody was gonna come up there with a gun and shoot up the whole school? It's just so far fetched for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's so far fetched to think that I would go to school in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, or whatever. We got to do a drill out. Active shooter, this, that, and the other. So it makes me sick to my stomach that we have not protected our youth in this country at all. And young Black youth and urban youth that live in inner cities all over America are so numb to this. And so my wife is from Baltimore. And when I hear the stories of what normal schooling for a lot of them on the east side and the west side is in Baltimore, I'm like, this is ridiculous. South side Chicago, pick a city. And so how do I handle it? I hate to get cliche here, but man, that's what I got God in my life for a reason. Like, I cannot do this. There's just not enough room in the human experience to do this by yourself. I don't care what God you pray to. I don't care what you believe in, but believe in something higher than yourself, please. Anybody listen to this, because you didn't create yourself. You didn't create these trees in the sky out here and photosynthesis. Look, photosynthesis is enough to have me believe in God. Like, that is just too perfect, right? So I believe in a higher power, higher form than me, and I respect it. And I try to be a part of it and listen to it. And you know, for me, it just happened to be in a form of Christianity because I was born in America and my parents were Christian. So, like, you know, I was in a different part of the world, might be Muslim, might be something else. But faith is faith. And without faith, I can't make it. I can't make it, y'all. Like, even with faith, I'm struggling sometimes. I'm struggling sometimes with faith because your faith gets challenged and it wanes at times. But you have to really plug back in and get support groups for all the garbage that Facebook allows and social media allows. You know, there's some great groups in there too. Like I'm in a gun violence support group. So just tap into the right thing. You know, it's not so much the tool, it's how you use the tool, right? Like I can use an ice pick to shave off ice. I can use it to murder you. You know, like this is not the tools, what you do with it. You know what I mean? So please use your tools out there. And that's what I would say to anybody. You know, if you're not on the religious tip or the spiritual tip, use the tools that I believe what I call God has already given you here and use each other. You know, have real chill conversations. This is important. This is why I'm on here because you guys are having a platform and you record this could be in perpetuity. So let maybe my words or the words you're saying tonight, ladies, can have an impact on our grandchildren. We don't know. I'm
I hope
looking at
so.
stuff in the 50s. Yeah, I'm hoping so. You know what? You know what, Brandon? No, I know so because look at what you've been through. I don't know the rest of you ladies. I hope to get to know you soon, but look at what you are. I know y'all been through something. In my book, I actually talk about something called the 5 shots moment. And really what that is about is that I said, look, I hope whoever's reading this, I am the only person you'll ever meet and ever know that's been shot 5 times and survived. I hope I'm the only one. I hope nobody reading this has been shot 5 times. So I'm probably one of the few guys or a few people or only person you'll ever meet that's gone through that, right? But you don't have to be shot 5 times to have a 5 shots moment. So what is a 5 shots moment? A 5 shots moment is anything that has chipped away at your humanity, right? If you've been molested, raped, assaulted, carjacked, even if you got hit by a drunk driver and it took your parent away or it took a family member or friend away or whatever, those people that lost their life in Miami when that building collapsed, right? Something went wrong with the engineering over there. Whose job was it to make sure that building is done? So somebody's responsible, right? So for somebody, that's a 5 shots moment. They just lost their grandparent. Whatever it is, we all are going to go through it. The only thing I can guarantee in life is there will be some pain. That's the only guarantee we have in life. There will be pain. Now, you do have goodness. You have sunshine this area, but you cannot have sunshine without rain. You can't have sun without, you know, light without dark. It is guaranteed. And so we have those things come in our life. It's not the fact that they happen, is what you respond, how you respond to it, right? So I say in my book, the 5 shots moment for everybody is going to be different. And I don't compare mine. I hear people, ladies, all the time say, you know, I went through this, but man, I wasn't shot 5 times like you. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Uh-uh. Give me 5 bullets every day because I have a friend in New Jersey whose uncle molested him at 7 years old. If that had happened to me, I would have died. I don't think I could get over my uncle, who I trust and love, to molest me. No, give me the 5 shot. And I'm dead serious, yo. Like, some people think that's crazy, but I'm like, I can't go through this. So what you think is less than mine? I'm like, oh no, 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 no. If I had to pick every single time, and trust me, I don't. It's the only time I ever want to get shot. You know, trust me. But, you know, if I had to pick between the two, I'd rather have a 5 shot. So everybody's burden is for them, and this is what the Bible says. It says God won't give you anything that you can't handle. He will give you more than you can handle. You know, the reason we know that's true is because you're all on this call right now, and the people that you love and know right here, you're still here. So if you went through it, you have to know you went through it, right? You're on the other side of that. So yeah, God didn't give you more than you can handle because you're right here. Now, are we going to let these things fester in us and start tearing us down? So don't do that. If you woke up today, I need everybody listening to this, no matter where you are and who's watching from where and who will watch this whenever. If you woke up today on this earth, then you have self-worth. And that is God's permission for you to succeed. I'll repeat that one more time. If you woke up this morning
and you have your faculties about you, you can speak and talk and hear, and even if one of those things don't work, but you are literally of some sort of sound mind, body, spirit, that is God's permission for you to succeed. Because otherwise, he's have you not wake up today. So I want everybody to understand that you are important just by the fact that you woke up. And if you know you have value, then you won't do what Milton did to me. You won't do what so many other people have done to each other and hurt each other. So that's my biggest thing. We get through it, Brenna, when we see these things on the news, we get through it by having a community. You know, you was in my house when you heard I came home from the hospital. You was in my house 2 days later. 2 days later, girl, like, you know, and you got me up there boo-hooing and all that mess. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be your Jersey homie. Like, what are you doing here? You know, I was just up there boo-hooing because you done bought my family soup because I couldn't eat nothing, so you knew it. So you, man, come on, man. That's how you get through it, Brandon. It's people like you. It's people like your friends here on. So be a community for somebody. We can't do this by ourselves. Everybody speak up. Everybody speak up. Dominique, Edwina, I don't know what anybody's going through, but please tell somebody. Please tell somebody. Please don't keep it to yourself. And ladies, do the airplane thing, man. Like self-care. You know, women are so much better at this than men. I really need to be preaching at the men about this, but ladies, we need you to continue to show us the way. Like, we can't do this without y'all. So if y'all don't do self-care, like, we're in trouble. We're in deep, 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 deep trouble because we don't go to the doctor. We don't get ourselves checked. We don't pamper ourselves as men. We just don't do it. And like, literally, I found out I had celiac disease as one of the unfortunate parting gifts that I have from losing a third of my colon. And now I can't eat any of that weed and all that kind of stuff. But it was my wife that sent me to the doctor because I didn't go to the bathroom for like 8-9 days. And I was just like, man, all right, let me just try this. Let me try this. She's like, could you go to the hospital, please? So, like, if it wasn't for my wife just saying, like, enough, you know, I would still be, that was in February. I would still be right now. I'd be like, you know what? One more day and I'm going to try this thing. You know what I mean? So we need y'all, ladies. Y'all are in tune to self-care. Y'all are in tune to balance and health and all those things. And it's our job to protect you. It's not your job to go out here and be warriors and fight the world. So I don't know. I rambled a little bit, ladies. I'm sorry. I said a lot, but I was compelled today, and I don't know how much.
No, you did great. Thank you so much for telling your story.
We appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
talking about gun violence and then having a conversation with you, I think gives people hope and it helps to restore their faith. Because remember, when I saw you, there was nothing here.
Yep.
It was open.
Yep.
There was nothing here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, who's your plastic surgeon? Because I don't see no damn scar nowhere. And I saw the hole. I saw the hole.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like honestly, the ultimate surgeon is the Almighty God. But man, that guy put that thing in my face. You remember when that thing was in my face? That had me looking like Frankenstein.
The extender. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's like the reverse headgear, but for something else. Yeah.
And I was one of 7 people on the Eastern Seaboard that had that thing in their face. I'm in the books for it.
Yeah.
And that guy did it after people was like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. He was like, yeah, bump that. I'm gonna do it anyway. It's just like, and I couldn't say no because I was like,
no scar, doesn't look crazy, no keloid. I mean, it looks like that's his natural given born face. You would never have known that there was a hole in it. And so
crazy.
We appreciate you. Anybody else have anything else they want to say or ask?
I did have a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you think we can protect our children from school shootings? What would be a resourceful way for you?
From school shootings, honestly, we're gonna have to fight that we're really gonna have to fight that at the government level. Yeah, the school board level, government level. We're gonna have to, because guys, once they say it's open carry and all that kind of stuff, like anybody if you think about the high school you went to, Guys, you replay that all 4 years you went to high school, any of them days, somebody just walked up in there, right? So what we have right now is we have a failure of humanity, and we're going to have to take outside measures to try and protect our children here. We really do. And we have to start having different models for schooling. Like there are some schools that are doing some revolutionary type thing. And we're going to have to take that. And we're going to have to really like replicate it somewhere else and just kind of, like this things like Ron Clark Academy and how they do things and stuff like that. Charter schools, private schools, public schools scaring me with the way they don't care. It's really scaring me with the way they don't care. So in order to really answer your question, Dominic, we're going to have to attack it at the school level and band together as parents. We're going to have to try to band together as parents and say we're not going to allow this for our children. We're not going to allow it. It's kind of a generalized answer, but like it got to start at the school board level and then see, what we can do beyond that. But it's not a lot we can do if you are in a place that is allowing a lot of this foolishness. Like they want people to carry more guns, y'all. They want the security guards. They want the teachers to be strapped. They want everything.
But that's what I was saying, because I don't think that would be such a bad thing, but that's just my opinion, of course.
That the teachers are carrying?
I mean, you would have a choice, if you would carry. Of course, you would have to go through a training, but I believe it would make a difference. And I know this is something that Trump talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I kind of agree with it.
Yeah, the only thing I say to that is I think what people underestimate is what you're going to do in that situation. Guys, if you're not trained to use that firearm in a hostile environment, you go to range all the time. And it's like, oh, that target just sit there and I hit it. All of a sudden, there's an active shooter with a brrrr coming at you. And all of a sudden, your hand is shaky. And we're expecting people who are not highly, highly trained all the time. Because you have to understand, y'all understand, rookie officers freeze up.
Yeah.
Rookie military people freeze up. A teacher, I just don't.
But guns are for self-defense, so it would make sense to me,
Philosophically, I actually don't disagree with you. Philosophically, however, the application is just not as pristine as it seems. And I'm telling you, where I get my information from is a guy who was a former military trainer and actually in Oklahoma went around to school districts and was getting teachers, janitors, and everything. And they went through military obstacle course trainings, and they all miserably failed when the targets weren't live.
Wow.
And that's what's scary, because it's not what they do.
Yes.
It's not what they do. And in some cases in the obstacle course training, they were shooting innocent targets. And that's where now I'm saying, if we're really protecting our children, we got to make sure that a teacher isn't going to turn around and shoot a student because they think it's somebody creeping or whatever, and blah, blah. And then when, like Columbine, how do you shoot those guys and make sure no other student gets shot, right? How do we really make, so like we need highly trained, steady hands, steady minded people. And I think it actually would take months and months and years of training, almost in some cases.
Training,
I just don't know. So I know you said training, but I think it's so intense and so intensive that I'm not just sure your average third grade English teacher can handle this. And that's my only drawback of it. But philosophically, I don't disagree with you. I think it's more protection than it's not, right? But can we actually execute this application of what we're talking about? Right now in the current setup, I have my doubts. I really have my doubts. So it's a bleak outlook in some ways until we change philosophically what we're doing. And there's so many people out here that just want these guns to stay. They don't want them to go anywhere. And I'm not anti-gun, by the way. Like, after everything I've been through, I'm not anti-gun. I want to protect my home and my family, but I don't know. I don't really have the answer. The answer is in humanity, and we seem to be backsliding on that part. So, yeah,
I think
great
that's
question.
why we're trying to bring awareness to the channel about everything that's going on. So at least we can, let people know, hey, this is how you can protect yourself, or hey, you can go about it this way. So I know that we can't get guns off the street. We're very aware of that. But at least if we can bring awareness to the light about, like your story or what somebody else may be going through, people can wake up and, share with another person. And then hopefully one day, people will just maybe stop some of the violence, not all. We would like all, but at least tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And really, where I focus on the kids. Like, it sounds bad. We're gonna have to deprogram and indoctrinate the kids on the positive, because right now they're examples at home. They got some real dangerous examples at home. And people with 40 and 50 guns look like they're about to start their own little personal war and stuff like that. It's
Exactly.
ridiculous. Yeah, these kids,
Exactly. I agree.
they're seeing it every day. And I don't, so what you have to do is you got to take kids out of their environment. Think about all the enrichment stuff you may have had over your life. This is when you got out of your home environment and you went to whatever. And down here is Amicalolo Falls or whatever and stuff like that. And you'd be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize to do it. I don't know if you remember in New Jersey, Brenna, they had, I forgot where it was. I think it was in Central Jersey where they had the stalagmites and the stalactites and the little cave that you go down there. And it was science. I think it's somewhere in Central Jersey. I don't know if y'all did that in the south part of Jersey, but we would go on these field trips and I was like, oh, wow, they got icicles sticking up out from under the ground. It just gave me a different perspective than East Orange, New Jersey. And then Essex County and Newark, New Jersey, and Verona, Montclair, New Jersey. It just gave me a different perspective. And I think you have to take kids out of that, out of their neighborhoods, out of their perspectives, give them a new perspective. And when they see something, I think it increases the value of what they believe in, or it increases the value of things that they didn't know about and didn't believe in. Actually, it's the opposite. So like, oh, I don't care about this thing, but when you see it in a different light, you'd be like, oh wow, maybe I shouldn't do that because of boom, boom, boom. Or I don't care nothing about the West Coast. I live on the East Coast. You go out to the West Coast and see, well, they're people just like me. Maybe you should think about this differently and stuff. But if it's not getting out of your own environment, you won't care. And think about where all the violence happens. It happens with like 3.5 miles of where people live and all that.
Within your home. And I know we're going a bit over on the time. I certainly apologize for that, you guys, but we just had so much that we had to cover. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Jay, but there was a shooting actually at the studio in the parking lot, and that made the channel 2 Action News. So people were texting and calling me and hitting my line and asking me, was I
At the
up
Roberts?
at
The Roberts
yes,
building?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
geez. No, I
Yes.
actually didn't know that.
Yeah. So I
No.
just, I wondered if, when you hear these things and see these things on the news, does it make you feel any type of way, or are you just managing it and, you're happy to be alive? You've opened your eyes this morning and there you take it from there.
Yes, 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 and yes. Like
Okay.
all of it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, like, it messes me up, but at the same time, I take a step back and I'm like, hey, I am blessed to be alive. But at the same time, I'm like, why did this happen? This did not have to happen. Then at the same time, I'm like, God, how do we stop? Like right there in the Roberts building? Come on, man. You know how many times we've been out there just lollygagging around out there and not thinking about anything?
Yeah, like the police tape was around Prime's van and Roy's car. I mean, it was a mess.
I can't.
It was
That's
a
hard to
mess.
swallow. That's hard to
Yeah.
swallow. We had a whole event in that parking lot with all the YC and all them and
Yeah.
I forgot Don what was his name? Don Julio, Don Pablo, whatever his name was back there, the record label next
Don
door.
P.
Don P, yeah, that racks on racks guys, right? They got a whole event out there. I never worried about something like that, bro.
Right.
Never. It was just, I mean, look, now I know we're going on 7-8 years and 7 years since I've been there, but I would have never thought. I was just up there filming you the one time for I Am Triumph, and then I was just back up there, for a Raymond shoot. And I come up there all the time. Yeah, no, I would that would bother me.
Yeah.
That would bother me a little bit, knowing
Yeah.
people I love and care about could get clipped like that. Or people I don't even know. I don't.
It's
It bothers.
crazy.
It does bother me. I'm not gonna lie. It bothers me, but I don't let it get me depressed per se. I think to myself, what can we do? Can we do anything? And I just don't want to be trite and be like, well, I'm just gonna pray. And the Bible even says prayer without works is dead. So we gotta work. We gotta do something. But yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna pray too. We gotta do something, ladies. I don't have all the answers, but I know this right here is the start. Forum, talking about it, waking everybody up, and then going out and then like I would say, for my example, like I'm in a guns violence support group, but I also speak to young men, young boys. That's where I start my give back, and I have given just a few of them something to think about. And the saddest thing in the world, ladies, as I wrap up, saddest thing in the world is to tell your story, lift up your shirt, and show them your bullet scar, and they can do the same thing at 13 years old.
Wow.
Saddest thing in the world. I just want to cry when I see that. So, but the fact that maybe I gave them something else to think about, and they're like, you know what, that Morehouse College thing, that sounds like good. Like they thought they live around the corner from Morehouse and think it's impossible. Can you imagine that, living 6 minutes from the college?
There's
And
just a lot of senseless violence.
yes, correct. That is absolutely correct. So, yeah, like I would say, the old cliche, each one, reach one, teach one. Start there. But because of the power of social media and what you guys are doing right now, 1 million people can see this. 1 million people see this, and I hope you ladies really keep that in mind. 1 million people can tune into y'all. So keep doing your show, keep spreading it out there, and you never know the impact you're gonna make. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, once again, Mr. Wilson, thank you for stopping by and sharing your story with us. It was a pleasure to have you on.
And come back if you would like.
Yeah.
Yes. I thank you for having me. I hope I didn't interrupt your flow too much. I know I got a real meaty story, and I'm a broadcaster by trade, so I'm
No,
Brandon.
no, you didn't at all. We wanted, like you said, to bring awareness to everything that's going on. And how I came up with this topic is because I got an email through my son's school saying that somebody brought a BB gun to school. They thought it was a real gun, but they found out it was a BB gun. And I was sharing with the girls. I was like, what if that was a real gun? And this little boy would have shot up my son's school. Like, I don't know how I can accept that, because this is my seed. This is my son,
Yes.
And
Yep.
I didn't want to think about that. So I was like, we have to bring awareness what's going on, not just in the schools, but what's going on at Lenox and what's going on in other states. We have to bring awareness to everything that's going on. So that's how we came a part of with this podcast.
Fantastic. I really applaud you. Really, really applaud you for not just suffering with that in your own home, but taking it to a forum where we could talk about it. And when we cross each other's platforms, something's gonna move. Once again, I'm a spiritual guy, but when the Bible says when 2 or 3 gather in my name, so let's gather and let's do it. And honestly, it's gonna take some miracles. It's gonna take Almighty God to help. We can't do this by ourselves. We're gonna need some spiritual help here, but we have to start. I appreciate you ladies for starting.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so very much. Appreciate you. And we'll be reaching out. We're trying to do some things, some community outreach and some other things as well. And so I'm probably gonna lean on you for some ideas for some stuff.
Please, and call me.
Also, yeah.
I'll be there with my 524 shirt on and everything. And
before we forget, I know we've been running over. Tell everybody when your book is going to be available and how they can get it.
Yeah, so I'll be announcing when the physical books are available. I have my shirts, my 524 shirts, right now on my website, 524book.com. Losing grip of my phone. I don't know if y'all can see that, 524book.com. You can go to the website right now. I will be announcing it. I'm pushing for December 1st, 21. So 12121.
as my date to physically release. I am clearing up some legal hurdles right now so that we can get the digital out to people for all of the Amazon readers and all of those the like for next month. So stay tuned. I implore everybody, go to 524book.com and leave me a message. Just, when they contact us, just say, hey, I heard you on this, or hey, I met you here and this and the other. And anybody who contacts me, you're going to get a signed autographed copy of the book when you purchase, and a nice little gift with it as well. And I want everybody to really be blessed by that. But yeah, it's coming. It's just in a matter of weeks. So you stay tuned to the .com there. You guys will be first to know, and then you'll know when I'm doing my pop-up book signings and book readings and everything. If Delta is not going crazy out here too much and people are comfortable with it, so I'll gauge that. People are comfortable. Let's get together and gather, and I'll be reading some excerpts out of the book, and and get this 524 movement really kicked into high gear.
And 524 means what exactly? I think I remember, but one more time, what is it?
Yeah, so the name of the book is 5 Shots to Forgiveness, My Triumphant Tragedy. So I shortened it to 5 Shots to Forgiveness. So it was a way to help everybody remember. But I'm gonna tell you something. This is real quick. Tell you something that's real crazy. I had a dream about these numbers, and all I knew is in the dream, I felt like I was being told to do it this way. So when I described it to the logo maker, shout out to John, when I described it to him, he ended up doing it that way, and I didn't even tell him all of that. But if you'll notice that the numbers are actually connected. There's no break in the numbers. And the reason that's important is that I always say forgiveness is a journey, not a destination. So if you also notice how the 5 is shorter than the 2, it's because when I was shot, you see the word shots there, 5 shots to forgiveness, right? It's a little play on words, but at the 5 shots is the lowest point on that journey. Because when I was shot, that was my lowest point. But there's no break in the journey. The numbers are connected, and that's literally a metaphor for how this is supposed to go. In order for me to get through this journey, I can't have a break in imploring forgiveness every day. And what I want people to know is forgiveness. I didn't forgive this dude one time. I forgave him this morning. I forgave him last week. I forgave him on my birthday. I forgave him when Jordan wanted to play a pickup game basketball and I couldn't do it. I had to forgive him right then and there. I forgive this dude every day. And until I learned that the fact that it was a journey and it was a constant state of being, I was going to be messed up. So I'm glad God had me figure that out. And I want to impress upon everybody, if you are right now having issues with somebody did something to you at any point in your life and it's still holding you and it's still accosting you, you have to let that go. You don't have to excuse what they did. You don't have to forgive them in terms of people think, oh, I'm letting you off the hook. No. That's not what it means. It means I now no longer let you control my life through that incident. And I'm sick and I'm, getting tumors and cancer and this, that, and the other. And here you off doing the same thing to somebody else. And that's what people need to understand. When most hurt people, they don't just hurt one person. They go around hurting everybody because they are hurt. So you were just one of the bunch. And yet you took it personally and it didn't define your whole life. So that's what I've learned. And that's what I've learned through all this. And I hope everybody can understand. But yeah, 524book.com. Go on there and order a t-shirt. The website is getting revamped. So you'll see like you go on there today and then Sunday, you'll be like, what happened? So I just made sure with today being a rebirth anniversary that everybody had a place to go to actually put their information in. But you'll see it. It'll literally look different in like 2-3 days. It's so crazy. But I'm working behind the scenes and yeah, it's on and popping. So yeah, 524book.com. Just leave me a note and I will converse with you.
Wow, powerful. Thank you so much. Wow.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling motivated.
Good. I'm glad. I hope everybody is. And, yeah, go out and keep doing what you're doing, ladies. I love this.
Super proud of you. Super proud of you.
Well, you already know.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we're good. We got other stuff we got to collaborate on for sure. But I just want you to know, it's just amazing to see the person that you have become since the early days, like I said, of Marta Station and walking and working on skits and everything else. And this is brand new. And what the hell is internet radio anyway? And blah blah blah. Like you've come so far and grown so much, but you went through such a significant traumatic situation that in a lot of cases would have left you bitter and angry, would have left you snapping at your wife and being a jerk and all this other stuff. And I see y'all laughing and giggling and having a good time, taking your trips and celebrating birthdays and just really enjoying life. And the fact that your wife picked up the phone to call me to tell me what had happened to you also, was validating the fact that, this is not just a coworker. Like this is my friend, because we're years in at this point of this happening. So I thank you so much for coming on and joining us. Everybody that's tuned in and is watching the show, we apologize. It's extra long, but it's a conversation that needed to happen, and maybe there'll be pieces that you guys can take away from this and utilize them to help you get through some of the challenges that you may be experiencing right now. And we're always here, as we said, realchillconversations@gmail.com. You can send an email, go to the YouTube page, subscribe there, put your comments there, or go to the Instagram, send us a message or a DM, and someone will definitely get back to you.
Excellent, lady. Thank you for having me on. And Brandon,
All right, y'all.
Anytime. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you. Please keep going. Please keep doing what you're doing.
Give the other Mr. Wilson a big hug for me.
I definitely will. About to go sleep.
All right. All right. Talk to y'all later.
Thanks,
All right,
ladies.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you once again.
All right.
God bless you.
Bye.